Read it again.
Wait, hang on.
Take your time, Deb.
Yeah, I can only go as fast as it wants to stream. All right, let's see. We got our transcript. Okay, I think it should be good now. All right.
Okay. Until further notice, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry's governing and deliberative bodies will hold meetings and/or hearings virtually via Zoom webinar, which provides for public participation during a public comment period when applicable and when posted on the agenda. Alternatively, the public may watch meetings by YouTube video live stream or listen by telephone. These options comply with the Open Governmental Meetings Act. It is 7:02, and I'll call this regular meeting of the Harpers Ferry Water Commission to order. Has everyone had a chance to look at the November 17th minutes?
Yes.
Yes,
Does anyone have any edits?
I already gave him to Laurel.
Okay,
I made changes and sent it out.
Yeah,
okay. So as amended, does anybody have any?
I move that we accept the minutes as last amended.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for January 19th, 2022. Wow, 2022 already. And Angie, you're up. Oh, wait.
All right.
I'd like to formally welcome David Ginolat from Bolivar to the Water Commission. He was approved 2 weeks ago, I think, by the town council, and he is here fully participating. So welcome, David, and we look forward to your contributions.
And excuse me one sec, Dave, you are muted. So by default, when you come into the panelist room, so just whenever you do want to speak, make sure you unmute yourself. All right.
And you can keep it unmuted if you like. It's up to you.
Start with an unmuted.
Okay, well, again, welcome. We're glad to have you. We do a lot more than people realize, I think, as a commission. So we need every perspective and every able body we can get. Angie, are you ready with your report?
I am.
All right.
Okay, so you can hear me? Can you see me?
I see your name.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry that you can't see me. It came up on my phone kind of crazy pants, but at least you can hear me.
Yep.
So the notifications and cutoffs this past month, which would have been the non-payments for November, I had two. One of which was promptly turned back on after they made payment. The other one is still off. The one that is off, we know for a fact that no one is actually living there. So we're just waiting for them to kind of reach out to us and let us know when they want to reinstate service. But everyone who is on is supposed to be on.
Okay,
So
good.
I'm just wondering if, David, if that makes sense, because you, if, you know, one of the things that Angie reports on is one of her jobs, unfortunately, is to, if someone hasn't paid their bill within 20 days or something, she's got all the timing right. Then she has to send out a shut-off notice. We're going to shut off your water if you don't pay. And then if they don't pay their bill, and then if they don't pay their bill, then she has to ask the water department to go and shut it off. So that's what she's talking about. And she tells us, and it causes great anguish to everybody concerned anytime somebody's water has to be turned off.
Is 2 or 3 a typical amount that's notified or cut off during sort of a month?
Unfortunately, yes, it is, because we do have customers who might be renters who, what I refer to as skip out. They not only skip out on their water bill, but also the electricity, their rent, their everything. So typically with my customers who are homeowners, I don't have this problem with. Usually it's going to be the renters. But I mean, it depends. But I would say 1 or 2 a month is probably average. But my goal is always to have everyone turned back on within a day or so if they pay. But sometimes they don't pay. And that's why this particular service address, I know no one is living there. It's an estate. So when the family decides to pay the past due bill and have it turned back on, then we will do so gladly. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want me to go over the termination policy that we have? I'd be happy to do so.
Sure, if the other committee members don't mind.
Yeah, won't take but a second. So everyone knows that usually your bills are typically due between the 20th and the 22nd of every month. And why it varies is because bills go out on the first day of every month if it is a normal billing day. For the month of December, instead of going out on December 1st, they actually went out on December 2nd because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So everything was pushed back about a day. So they went out on December the 2nd. So everyone's bills are due 20 days later, which made that this month, December 22nd. So what will happen is if folks do not pay their bill by December 22nd, on December 23rd, penalties will be processed. And then normally termination letters would go out the very next day. December, November are they're not the normal months because of course we're going to be closed on December the 24th. So then it goes to the next business day. And then once termination letters go out, then you have 10 days to pay. And then on that 10th day, if we haven't received payment by the end of that 10th business day, then the next day is when we actually terminate service. But in between all of that time, by the time the letter goes out and by the time termination actually occurs, they have received a letter, they've received phone calls, they have received door hangers and a personal phone call from me, not a robocall, but a phone call from me checking in. Because sometimes I've had customers who were in the hospital and I don't know that if they don't reach out to me, if their family doesn't reach out to me. And at that time, certainly we make, special, we do special things for them. We'll extend it. I'll talk to their family members, whatever they need. The fact is that we try very, very hard not to turn people off. I always say we're in the business of supplying water. We're not in the business of shutting your water off. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how the termination happens. It's a very laborious process. And when people are shut off, trust me, by the time they're shut off, they know it's coming.
Thank you, Angie.
And-
That was really good to hear that whole thing again.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I know for me, it's like, every month. And I forget that sometimes people don't know the process, but that's it. And we don't take shutting people off lightly. But anyway, I totally anticipate this family, this one family that is off, out of 800 some odd meters that we have, the only one is still shut off. So that's pretty darn good. And whenever they're ready, they'll just contact me and we'll go from there.
Okay.
So did you all receive the, well, I'm jumping. I was going to jump to the zero report, but the billing inserts. I don't actually have a billing insert for the January bills yet. I
Have
didn't know
we
if y'all
done
wanted
the-
to do.
Have we done the pipe freezing one yet?
Not yet.
No, we
Not
have
yet.
not. Uh-oh. I didn't even think
So,
about that.
I mean, I was going to say, we can certainly do that for the January insert if you all would like to.
I think that would be an excellent idea, guys. And I
I
completely
think-
forgot about that too.
Yeah,
I hadn't forgot about it. I knew it was
Yeah.
there, but I didn't know if there was something else that wanted to like jump in front of it.
That's pretty.
Yeah. We just usually
have a-
once a year we try to send out an insert with all of the bills, sort of reminding people that this is the time of year that your pipes can freeze, and it's just a little insert reminding you that, you know, little things that you can do to keep your pipes from freezing. My personal favorite is it doesn't cost anybody any money at all. You just open up your cabinet doors, and that will oftentimes help the interior pipes from freezing.
Right?
So we can do that with the January bills if you all would like.
I think we should. We're coming up on the time, you know,
Mhm.
where it's going to be cold for periods long enough to do damage. We haven't really hit that yet, but I think because we have so many vacant and, you know, vacation use kind of properties, I
Mhm.
think getting that information out now. I mean, we might should have thought about it last month, but I think getting it out with the next one will be good enough.
Mhm. Well, I can certainly do that. I can send that out with the January bills, no problem.
That would be great.
So I'll take care of that. And so the zero usage report for meters that had zero reads. I don't know if you all wanted me to go over that, or if you all got that in the Water Commission email. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'd be happy to explain anything if you need it. It's very similar to the previous month. There were 4 meters that were replaced. We have in any given month about 50 meters that are vacant. And that's a lot. I think that's a lot more than anybody kind of thought. But it seems to fluctuate, but not by much.
I think it's looking at this list, it's amazing that I was having oops, I'm sorry about knocked over my table. I was having a conversation with somebody about all the vacant houses in Harper's Ferry. And it just, looking down this list, it's like having a conversation about the same thing.
Mhm.
All the vacant houses. It's the same thing as looking at all the houses that have zero, zero water usage. It's incredible. It's the same list, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't think there is a list of vacant houses, but we were talking about compiling one, and here it is. Here it
Right,
is. This
right.
one.
I didn't even
What?
think about that. No, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. It is a list of that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, pretty much. I've noticed over the last couple of months that we've been doing this, that it might variate by maybe 2 or 3, but that's about it. And that's only because I recently had, this customer or that customer, pass away or going to a nursing facility, something like that. Otherwise, it's pretty steady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if there are no questions about the zero read report,
Mr. Genowit has his hand up.
Yeah, I had a quick question. By vacant, you mean no water service established versus a zero read, meaning they have water service established, but no flow or water usage during the billing period?
That is a very good question. Yes, what I mean is they do have established service. They have just not used any water.
And
And
that-
we,
yeah,
as a utility, we do charge a minimum usage, and so does the PSD for sewer.
Hmm.
So let's say, for example, if you have a property and this is your second home and you're living in Florida for the winter, and in the months of January, February, you don't use any water because you're not here, you still do get charged a minimum usage. You get a minimum bill, but because the service is available to you, you're just not drawing any water. And that's what we mean by zero usage.
Yeah.
Does that
And-
answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, good.
But now that that question came up, do we know if these 49 houses are?
Vacant. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna
Mm.
say.
Are they being billed or not? Could some of them have had their meters turned off in their?
Mm-mm. No,
Okay, so they're all 49, all 49.
They're all being
are
billed.
they're all paying for the minimum amount. Wow.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. They're all being billed for the minimum, even though they aren't using a drop of water.
Even
Mhm.
from 660 Washington. So she did not terminate her water.
I don't know address. I
do
would have to know a
You
name,
want to
but
be,
we can't talk
We
about
don't,
that.
yeah, we don't want to
Customer.
address specific
Okay.
Yeah.
accounts.
All right. I'm just, okay, thank you.
But let's just say if someone moves, they're billed until they terminate their service. And according to the Public Service Commission, I have to have that termination of service in writing.
Right.
Mhm.
We also investigate the houses themselves. That's one of the things that we have the guys doing now is if the house looks vacant, we also note that on the work order, and Angie puts that in the zero usage file too, just to keep track of why these houses aren't using water, so.
Okay.
Correct. Mhm. Yeah. Any other questions about the zero usage? No? Okay, so to discuss, I guess, the old furnace property, that sort of brings me to for the last 2 months, she has had a normal amount of water usage, but she still maintains a over $4,000 balance owed.
Has,
She stated, yes,
has she gotten back to you about whether she's gotten a plumber?
she said that she could not obtain a plumber because she was not considered an emergency situation, that every plumber she talked to said that they couldn't see her for at least 6 weeks.
Well,
And that also kind of brings up the question of other customers that I have that say that they're having problems getting in touch with plumbers.
we have at least one other customer that's having couldn't even get Ron Smoot to come out. So I think it's not.
He did go out, but he refused the job.
Right. She
Yes.
can't get him to do it. Yeah. So what
Yeah.
we've got is we've got a problem that I think in part we will have again. I don't think the old furnace problem is going to be very likely, but in the older parts of town where the delivery pipes and the water infrastructure in the homes themselves are older, we could theoretically continue to have problems like the one where Ron Smoot refused the work. And so I think we need to think about, and I don't know that we need to do this, try and come up with this evening, but I think what we need to do is come up with some kind of uniform way to address these, so we know how long do we give them, and what sort of extensions do we give them based on, if they can't get a plumber, how do we respond to that? Because at some point, we could just end up being put off forever, and we don't want that. But we also don't want to put these customers, we don't want to penalize them for things that are beyond their control. So I think we need to address that from a policy standpoint at some point. So be thinking about ways that we might be able to address it in something other than an ad hoc way.
Right?
So-
Yes.
I was gonna add that, so she said that she couldn't get a plumber for 6 weeks, but did she go ahead and make an appointment? I mean, 6 weeks, we're willing to wait to find out, I would seem to me. Did she make the appointment?
That's a good point.
The one on Old Furnace, to the best of my knowledge, yes, she has made an appointment, but was
Perfect.
also told that if emergencies come up before her appointment, that she would be bumped.
Sure.
Yes.
And that's very
Yeah.
understandable, but I think
That
if
is.
she, in good faith, has an appointment on the books and she can tell you which plumber it is and that kind of thing, I think that
Mhm.
shows when you come down to trying to make a decision later that this is a big dollar amount. So you may even, end up with, I don't know, the council involved, because it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It shows good faith that she is doing diligence to resolve this situation. And it'd be nice to have that on record.
Mhm. Well, and then on the flip side is the other property that I have that knows they actively have a leak, and it's been going on since March of
Mhm.
last year.
Yeah.
And they said they've tried to find a plumber and they can't. And I think that they've sort of thrown their hands up, and perhaps they're comfortable paying a $500 a month water bill. And I guess if they're comfortable paying that, then I guess that's okay.
So
But
they're not asking
then
for
they
a lease.
also, if they go into termination, then then they say they can't afford to pay it. So it's just a
Good
very
news on
bad.
Yeah, good news on that one. If you're referring to Cliff Street.
Well, maybe you know something I don't.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
that's all I know.
Yeah, that's being addressed.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
good.
good. Then that's good.
I
Okay.
just found that. Yeah, I just found that out to today when I got a missed utility ticket. Something Charlie Diggs is excavating. So
Good.
Oh,
Glad that's
Yeah.
well,
underway.
then yes.
Yeah.
Then yes, you're more aware than I am, which is awesome.
It-
That's
it-
great.
I got it like at 2:00 this afternoon or 2:30.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
great.
Well, that's good news, because that's
As-
been an outstanding problem.
Yes,
Yeah.
as long as we're moving forward, that's all I care about.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, good.
Does anybody have any more questions for Angie?
I just want to point out that, so Bill, you were talking about having a regular policy about this. And I think Deb made a very good point that the customer has made an appointment and can tell Angie exactly when is the appointment and who the plumber is, and Angie writes that down. And then that provides a time to go back to the customer and then check has the problem been seen to, just so that it doesn't drag on another 3 months. And that I think that is reasonable to give a customer more time in this way,
Absolutely. I think what we need to do is think about how we communicate that to the customer. Say, we can ask them to let us know the plumber and when their appointment is, which will allow us to make decisions about whether we, start sending the bills or whether we continue to hold off.
Mhm.
And I think if we communicate that to the customer at the front end, that will alleviate some of that distress on the customer's part of, holy cow, I can't get a plumber in for 6 weeks and I've got this humongous water bill. So, and it gives us some certainty about how, how long we're gonna keep it on the books, in sort of abeyance. All right, Chris Steyer, Water Superintendent.
Yes, sir.
Oh, before Chris speaks, can I say one more thing, please? I know it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm just super excited. Sorry, Chris. I'll just 1 second. I just wanted to say that just as the water plant is moving forward in technology, so is billing. And I have to give humongous props to our financial officer, Deb Kelly, because she has worked a lot of hours to bring forward to work towards going towards what we call an auto pay or an auto ACH pay for those customers that want it. We're still working toward that. We're in the middle of it, but it's actually moving forward, which I'm super excited about. I am super excited about the e-billing, which you're going to see further down on the agenda. That's going to be awesome. And I don't know if you noticed on your last bill or not, but up towards the top, there was a little message that said, if you text HFWW to 25251, then you can opt in for any emergency 911 messages that we have going out, which is something that we've had in the past, but we're just sort of reintroducing it to new folks because we have a lot of people that move in and move out of the area and maybe they don't know this. That would be what I refer to as my robocall. Most people will get a phone call. It's automated if there's any construction that's going on, if there's a water main break, anything like that. This would also give them the texting option. And then we just got an email option for a non-emergency communication yesterday. This just happened yesterday. I'm so super excited about it. So for example, what I'm hoping to do within the next month or so is send out to all of my customers saying that if you would provide me with your email address, what I can do is I can give you any non-emergency communications through email, such as we're planning on doing water construction on Spring Street between the dates of whatever and whatever from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. just to give everybody a heads up. And so I haven't seen us move technologically this fast in my whole 7 years of being here. So I am super excited about it. But we've got all these new things coming. And so now, Chris, there you go. I'm sorry.
That's great news. Yeah, I mean, really, to be able to communicate with the customer, even, that's awesome. The more communication, the better.
Right.
The water loss for the month of November was 23.73%. Pretty sure I know where it went. Our water loss is still a little higher than average. We've been averaging around 16-18%. Due to several leaks Sean found on East Spring Street in Bolivar. We repaired the leaks. However, we discovered that we have more leaks there. And we will be addressing that. I was planning on addressing it this week. However, due to employees absentees, I had to reschedule. I also have a turbine meter that we're planning on putting in at the Quality Inn. That meter is no longer working. I finally got it in. It took a little while to even get the part in. However, what we're doing with the Quality Inn right now, and until I get that meter in, is we're estimating using numbers from the previous years to make sure that the numbers are, as accurate as we can until we get that meter in. Again, that was scheduled for this week. Could not do it, unfortunately. We'll be doing it soon though. We have meter reading to do before Christmas, which is going to be a little bit tight because we're going to be missing a couple days next week due to the holidays. The plant gate has been repaired. We also have a new front door, thank God. So we're completely secure, or as best as we can be secure with construction going on. And trust me, everybody's aware of securing the place at night, and now we're able to, make sure that everything's locked up. And the new stainless steel clear well, I sent pictures around. Unfortunately, I wish I could show everybody, but I believe it's absolutely beautiful. It's a 200,000 gallon stainless steel tank. And I get the privilege of seeing it at night and at dusk, and it's just the light, the autumn light hitting it. There's like an aura that's around it. The only problem, and we haven't had any complaints yet, but it was just brought up to us by the people that actually erect these things, is sunlight. There may be a sweet spot where the sun will reflect off the beam and maybe a little bright on people driving, but so far have not had any complaints on that, and hopefully we'll address that when the time comes. In the coming months, we'll be using just one filter, while the construction crews assemble the new membranes filtration system. We recently did a scheduled test on the capability of running the water plant on one filter for 3 consecutive days. What we found out is that it dropped our production of finished water by 50% and doubled the length of time to produce the finished water. We're able to maintain our water tank levels in a 16-hour day and gain water in our tanks in an 18-hour day while the test was being conducted. Our November average runtime was 10-hour days, and then we produced an average of 187,000 gallons a day. The daily average while the test was being conducted was 211,000, well above what needs to be produced at the current moment. That being said, as this test is going to be, from my best guess, the start date. And I've been doing some research on this, trying to find out when this is going to be, and it's going to be in February to possibly May that we're going to be completely down, one filter until they switch over to the membrane. So it's going to be tight, but I believe we can safely handle the water demand on the filter when the time comes. It just requires overtime or one more Class 2 operator. In conclusion, I would like to thank Chris Spanos and Sean Benny for their dedication at Harpers Ferry Waterworks and their hard work they have put in this year. Sorry about that. I turned off my phone and somehow or another it rang again. So that's it. Any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
So originally, we thought it was going to be using the one filter for 3 months.
Yes.
And now why is it lengthened beyond 3 months?
It also saying is a possibility. It should be a 3-month period. They're just saying, maybe more. It's so it's scheduled in February. It should be done in May. That's 3 months, right? February, April, May. So yeah.
There's a March in there.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I had somebody talk about May, so I thought I'd throw that in there too. They just want to, they're not 100% sure if everything goes right. The 3 months is what they think, but with parts, and the way construction is with COVID right now, you know,
Right. We have
Well,
to
they're
prepare-
not gonna take us offline
until
to
they
build
got
something
everything.
that they don't have all the parts for.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. They said that they would have everything in place, but you know, I just like, for example, I have a door that came in 3 weeks ago, but yet still don't have the window for the door. You know what I'm saying? So the parts are coming in piece by piece.
Correct. Supply chain issues are affecting everything, but they're not going, you know, it's forcing them to make decisions, change decisions about the
Yeah.
order in which things get installed. But with the filtration system, I would be not just surprised, but dismayed if they were planning to take us offline without everything they needed to put it together on site.
Yeah, but you remember they got the demolition. They got the demolition first. So we got to demo, you know, before they even put things together, we got to, you know,
Correct. They got to pull it out.
Yeah, and every system's different. They just, you know, it's hard to determine how this is going to work. That's all.
Okay. You
And
said that
until we get it, you know, and until we actually see it happening, you know.
right. So the compound gate is done.
Yes.
And did they raise the fence an inch like you requested?
Yes. That was done the very next day.
So we're totally done. All right.
Yes.
As for the next old business item, we're not discussing that tonight. That was an artifact from the prior. We're waiting for our prior agenda. We're waiting for the budget revision before we address that. Deb, with the budget and financials.
Okay, so your financials this evening are for the end of October 2021, and that gives you 4 months into the fiscal year. So that's about 33% or a third of our year. So when you're taking a look at the financials, David, you might want to check over in the far right-hand column. That gives you a percentage of the full of what we've consumed out of the budgeted amount for each year. So that kind of helps you highlight where there might be exceptions or areas to be paying attention to. These particular financials do reflect the purchase and the installation of the early warning detection system, which has not been reimbursed to us through the grant from the DHHR. I did contact them. They have received the paperwork and it is in good order. They are just still processing and short on people, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully in the next month or so, we will get that reimbursement. And that would allow our revenue to reflect the work that was done in the expenses. So our revenue right now is reported at 29% of the budgeted, but if we were to have received the reimbursement from the DHHR, we'd be at 31%, which is just about a third, and that's pretty much on target given the season of the year that we are in. Our expenses are 27% of budget, so again, we're right on track there. The purchase and installation of the early warning detection system had originally been placed all in budget line item 620.3, plant materials and supplies. And that big purchase of about $25,000 really helped to sort of bump us over 100% there. And part of that purchase was $3,000 of contracted work. It was not materials, it was actually contracted work. And so I've relocated the $3,000 into the plant maintenance contracted services, and that helps to pull that budget line into item. And one of the other reasons that I went ahead and did that is that Christara and I have reviewed other purchases in the category of plant materials and supplies, and we discovered that many of those items may just as properly have been suited for plant maintenance materials and supplies rather than just plant materials and supplies. So he will be monitoring future purchases
Yes,
for
we will.
proper
Yes, I will. Yeah. Sorry.
For proper distribution to these line items, which should even out the actual amounts over the fiscal year between these two. The other area that we've been watching is plant chemicals, and a recent projection based on the operation of the plant as it is functioning now, not in the new membrane circumstance. If you were to assume that we would be doing that until the end of fiscal 22, we've come to the realization that when we go to revise the budget, we're only going to need a minor revision there of $1,000 or $2,000. You know, once we get into the actual membrane operation, then we may need to make adjustment, but that will kind of happen in several places. So we'll deal with that when the time comes. And so I'm kind of dovetailing into the next item, but which has to do with update on the fiscal 22 revision, which has kind of been in the scope of my work over the last month or so because of the sedimentation basin and Elk Run and the chemicals, et cetera, et cetera. But with the sedimentation basin work being delayed until the spring and Elk Run bid coming into next quarter, I think with the plant chemicals now under control and the plant materials and supplies under control, we can wait until January, February for a budget revision to come forward. And with that, we will make adjustments to address how we're going to finance those other items that have become more costly than we thought, and put all that into our expense and income category appropriately. So any questions for you with what you got going on here?
I think that's it.
I think that's a little silence. So, okay, we'll move on.
All right, and we already sort of had the ACH auto payment update, and the email billing module is that even really a module? That's something that's actually in the.
No, it is not a module, and I am going to give you a small update on the ACH if you don't mind. And I am also just going to mention to Dave that that the details in the budget, it is kind of complex. If you do want to understand the details or how we look at it in more depth, please feel free to get in touch with me and I'll make an appointment with you and go over that with you. So with regard to the ACH, where we are with that is that it has been installed. And I have now reached out to the bank. I have presented to them the agreement that needs to happen between the town of Harpers Ferry as the vendor for the water and the customers of Harpers Ferry when they sign up for this ACH auto pay agreement. So we have to have an agreement that we're going to be drawing money out of people's accounts, how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, et cetera. So that as soon as I get response back from the bank about that it's what they're looking for, that will go to council as soon as we can. If we can get it on a special, we will. Otherwise, it'll wait till January. Once we do that, we will be requesting some guinea pigs to test our first ACH module. So any of you here that receive water from the Corporation of Harpers Ferry and want to give it a try, we will take your names and have you sign up. From that, we will generate a test file for the bank. The bank will review it for syntax and get back to us so that we can work with Kuzi if there's anything to straighten out. And then as soon as we get a clean file generation, we will then alert those who are on the guinea pig trial that we're going to run our first test on the ACH module. And once we get a clean run on that, then we will, through one of your billing inserts, as well as other ways, I presume, we will let the public know that that option is available to them. They will be able to sign up for it online. And we're working out the details in the background on all that. As far as the email billing module, this is a separate module. It is not an email notification that Angie was talking about before. This billing module will allow customers to choose and you may want to be considering this as you work towards your motion in this meeting, should you choose to make one. One of the options that we will need to decide about is if a person signs up for email billing, do you also want to give them the option to receive a mailed bill through the post office? Part of the goal of this exercise is, of course, to reduce your postage, which runs at about $450 a month. The module itself costs $1,000 as an initial purchase and minor upgrade on your annual service fees from Kuzi. But this will not only allow Angie to, when she goes to generate the bills, to simply generate that email bill file and have it sent directly out of Kuzi as soon as they're ready to go. But it will also assist her in notifying people with their personalized termination notifications. And so that may help with collection on that end as well, getting communication to people. And if we're required, I think she said that we're required to go ahead and mail our termination notices, and we will still do that as required by the PSC, but this communication vehicle may assist folks with quicker response. So this is $1,000, this email module, and email billing module, excuse me. And we do have the option to purchase that against the credit that you have for the undelivered sign-on reader, or you could just purchase it for $1,000 under office supplies. And I do feel that even if you give the option to people to either stick with a postage delivery or opt out of it, whether or not you demand it one way or the other, I think a lot of people will opt out of the postage, and I think you'll still see a reduction in your postage and your paper usage. Would you concur with that, Angie?
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, yes, I absolutely concur with that. Yes,
Okay.
I think that we're definitely moving in the way of technology, and people are not wanting paper. They want to be able to reference their emails. So yeah, it's going to go down for us.
Okay. So if you feel, so any other questions about the module itself?
When people receive or opt in and receive an e-bill, they would then be able to click on a link within that email or log in somehow and then access the ACH auto payment module.
Yes and no. So so our ACH module. Okay, so yes, you probably can have the billing. I think I'm hearing a lot of background. Okay, I've muted you, Angie. There was some background noise. So I believe that we could on the bill put a link to the website where people can make a credit card payment. People will also be able to sign up for auto ACH payment, meaning that we will decide once a month, and it'll be around the 10th of the month, and we will activate the ACH payment. It is not an ACH payment at the customer's timing. So our only option right now online for the customer to activate a payment is through credit card. And we are looking into also the option of getting the credit card on auto bill, but that's another chapter down the road. So, but yes, they should be able to, and we're still working out the details, but they should be able to sign up online through that link, taking them to the website where they can register for auto pay through ACH.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion on the email module, correct?
If you want to do it and proceed, and Angie and I kind of felt like this was going with the auto pay ACH. This was a nice piece to move forward with now, because we want to be able when we're gonna go ahead and run the ACH payment for everybody each month. We do want to notify them by email alert, which will fall under the process that Angie described to you earlier that she just got activated. But at the same time, we feel it is appropriate that we provide an email bill to those same people, because they're kind of all in that same mindset.
Yes, I agree. So do I hear a motion?
Wait a second. Can I ask another question?
Yeah, and I think Christy has her hand up too.
Go ahead, Christy.
And my question is that it's possible, I assume, to get the email billing that your bill via email, but then I can still pay the way I was paying. Because
Sure, absolutely.
yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Um,
You are,
So I had misunderstood that this was an entirely new thing that we had not voted on yet. So now I think I'm understanding this better. When it was referred to as the email ACH, I just thought, well, this is the ACH again, but it's not.
yeah,
This
there's
is-
actually two things. The first one is the ACH auto pay module, which you've already purchased and has been installed. We
Right.
now are looking at another module that allows the email billing function, and that is yet different than the module that was already in, a little function that was already in Koozie, which allows for non-emergency, non-billing communication to portions of the customer database.
And okay, so I see how it's good. It's a good thing to bill people through email, and they might like that. And I get that from First Energy myself. I get an email about my bill, and I know how much it is. But what can you go? Would you say again? What is the cost of this to us or to the customer?
There's no cost to the customer. The cost to us is a $1,000 purchase, and they may add like a incremental service fee over the year that goes onto the annual bill that we pay to Koozie, and just by a couple $100, just to add, calls that we may need for troubleshooting this and that when it happens.
Okay.
So overall, so it may cost you $1,000 at the outset. It also may cost you, I'll say, $250 a year, but the savings that you will get will be in the postage that you're going to reduce on a monthly basis, which is currently running you $450 a month for about 780 bills. Would you say, Angie? And she has her hand raised.
Yes, I was gonna say, yes. The amount of money that we would save in postage is definitely going to be there, but also I think not just the postage and mailing the bills per se, but in the time it takes, manual labor, to what I refer to as stuff, lick and stamp, the termination letters, I think would be reduced, because what I'm hearing from the majority of my customers is that if I could go online and if I could see my bill, and if you could email it to me, and if I could go and automatically pay, then I wouldn't be in termination. I wouldn't be late on my payments. You could just automatically take it out of my account. So I think it would not only benefit us, but also my customers. I think it's a twofer, to be honest, because it's not just billing. Sending the postage and billing, that's one thing, but also you have to think about the termination letters that go out. That costs postage and that costs manpower to send that out as well.
And so
Yeah.
so the email is something that the customer opts into and says, I'd like to start getting my bills by email now. And those who do not opt into it can still receive by mail. Is that right?
Right. And a choice
Correct.
that you need to make, as I would suggest that you make as part of your recommendation to council for this purchase, is whether you want it to be an exclusive choice. So you either
Right. I understand.
customers, you either, right, or they can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask then, there's such a thing as mail merge on what is it? Mail merge is part of
Word.
And why do we pay them $1,000 to do this when couldn't we do this just ourselves? Send it out on email? I mean, basically we can download an Excel file from the Koozie system with the bills and
And then
Can't
through what
we've
vehicle
done
are we
ourselves.
gonna, through
Sorry,
what
what?
vehicle are we gonna, through what vehicle are we gonna email all those people? I mean, you're looking, if you're gonna do it that way, if you're gonna build your own file and generate a PDF for everybody from that file that looks like the bill, and then
Yes.
you're gonna send it out, you're gonna need the service of some emailing service like Constant Contact or MailChimp or something like that. I mean, we don't have the email blast capability in Outlook to do that. So
Okay.
you're gonna be paying for that. And now you're entering in a factor of uncertainty and potential inaccuracy because you're pulling that data out of Kuzi and you're manipulating it in an Excel file. That makes me a little wary.
Well, actually, we already do this. That is, we pull out
Yeah.
for the shut off letters. We pull the amounts out of Kuzi in an Excel file, and those amounts are then put in the shut off letter. This is the amount you owe. Of course, those go out by mail. So it's done in a mailing, but you're right. We don't have like an email system. It could be that that's another option for us to use some sort of emailing system. I think that the process of producing the document is not going to be that difficult. You know,
Okay, but in this circumstance, you are sending to the customer the exact bill that they would otherwise get out of Kuzi. The precise document. Angie sent me a test today. I received the same look of the bill that I got as I would get it in the mail. I don't think we can regenerate that through, I don't know, I mean, maybe we can,
Well,
but we're talking about a $1,000 one-time purchase.
this is a penny wise, pound foolish problem. This, not only are we going to reintroduce more manual effort to get this thing out, which will cost time from Angie's efforts, but we also do increase the chance of errors. And this works seamlessly with our Kuzi system. I don't see why we wouldn't just utilize it. I think it'll pay for itself. And I don't see any reason to try to recreate this, with duct tape and baling wire on the side just to save us an upfront cost.
well, I don't think it's so hard. I think when Angie produces the shut off letters, it takes her an afternoon to do it. You know, and I think this is another thing that once it becomes a procedure, you run this files and then you send it over to your mail service, and then I just think I don't see why we need to pay them to do it.
We're just paying for the module. Angie, do you have a comment?
Well, the only comment I have is, I would like to invite anyone, including Laurel, that if you would like to come into the office and me show you the difference between the two, I would be more than happy to do that. Because I understand what you're saying. I get it. But what we are talking about is, like Debbie said, a one-time purchase of only $1,000, but it is more in keeping with people are used to. It's more in what is more technologically now. But if you would like to come into the office, I'll be more than happy to show you or anybody else the difference between the two, because I know what you're talking about and I get it. And that makes sense, but there's still this option that
It's more user
we don't know how
friendly.
we're going to email it. We still don't know how we're going to email it if we don't use it through Kuzi. It's just so much not only easier for us, but I think it's easier for the customer, which is what it all boils down to, in my point.
Okay, well, I just I don't think I think that is another option for us. It's not just the 1,000, it's also at $250 a year, and who knows what else. Kuzi has, I don't know, I'm just trying to avoid costs. If we could develop a procedure ourselves, I think we could. I mean, basically the one that you follow for the shut off letters. Do you complete that in one afternoon? I'm
I
not.
do,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it takes me, in order to compile the Excel file, print them off, and then do what I refer to as the stuffer, liquor, stamper process. That means stuffing the envelopes, licking them, not literally, but with a stamper, and then sealing them and putting a stamp on them. It usually takes me, with the assistance of a couple of office helpers, it usually takes about 3 hours.
Well, I remember that.
Whereas an
I did that.
email,
I did that right
yes,
alongside of you. And but
yes,
that's
yes, you
when you're
did.
mailing them. If we were doing the
Yeah.
email, we would not be doing the whole
No,
envelope stuffing. That would not, that was the time intensive part of that. So emailing,
exactly.
we would not be doing that part.
And that's the whole purpose of having the email. It would be instantaneous.
We're
Yeah.
also going to be, especially when once we move to a radio read meter format, all of our customer data and all of the things we do to these accounts is going to be much more automated and will all be flowing through Koozie. And
Right.
having things outside of Koozie, pulling data out and sending things out outside of Koozie will complicate our, where we keep our data, how we keep track of things, customer history, all of those things. The more we can consolidate our billing operations through the software we use for that, especially with radio read coming down the line, I think it makes much more sense. Angie, your
has
hand
her
is up.
hand. You're still muted, Angie.
Okay, sorry about that. I was trying to unmute. So the only thing I had to say to that is, I know that we have been throwing around the phrase koozie, 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 koozie. And for those of you who do not know what koozie is, I just want to state that that is my billing software. That's all that is. When we talk about koozie can do this and koozie can do that and needs this and needs that, it's just the name of my billing software. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood and wasn't sitting there going, what the heck is a koozie? That's what it is. It's the name of my billing software.
It's not the thing that keeps your can of Coke warm, cold.
Not in this case.
That's spelled differently.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
My impression,
It's my
though, is-
billing software.
I know I'm listening and I'm hearing, I understand how you feel, Bill. I don't think this is that complicated. And I think it's overpriced what they want to charge us just to send out emails. I think it's just a very high price for stuff that's already in their system. And I think we could develop a procedure and it just would take an hour to run. Okay, they're gone. All the emails are gone. They're sent out. I just believe I could do this. I could get this going. And I'm actually the person who did the procedure for shut off letters, and which Angie follows. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. I'm just one voice on the commission. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, so any more questions? I move that we recommend to the town council to purchase the email module as set forth by the financial officer for emailing out customer bills.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
I think it's too high priced, and I could develop this procedure for Angie to do and get done, and it's not going to cost $1,000 and $250 a year.
Anyone else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. All right. Water system improvement project update. I think Chris has pretty much covered the plant renovations where we are now. We do have the next construction progress meeting is tomorrow morning at 9.
Yeah.
Is that correct,
Yeah,
Chris?
Yeah, and what they're doing right now is the main, they're literally have taken ditches and dug from one end of the property to the other end of the property and put all the 3-phase and all the electrical and all the communications and concreted it in and then you put red dust over top of it so nobody can hit this. If you do hit it, you're going to hit concrete first before you hit electric. But it's even they've it's gone over the bridge. The electric's gone over the bridge. It's pretty elaborate, and it's all going to be tied in so everything can be ran from the plant or right from the computer. That's what they're doing right now. It's a pretty extensive operation, and they're about done that part. So
I'd like to add that as far as that progress meeting tomorrow, it'd be great if everybody could just Zoom that doesn't already work at the plant, because we also have the Antietam Tree is doing that part of the contract with the town tomorrow during the day, and they're gonna need access. I talked to the guy. He walked me all over
Eli?
the place. No, not Eli. Eli was gone. It was the other guy, and
Ron.
explained everything that they would need to be able to get to those trees. So I'm trusting that they will have it ready to roll tomorrow. They'll get there about 8:30.
okay, good.
Great.
Yeah.
So I have a question, excuse me. Are we going to be able to hear one another in this meeting?
Yeah, well, I've been Zoom before. Are you going to be doing the Zoom?
No, because they're going to be cutting trees down.
No, they'll be doing the Zoom. They'll be doing that's far removed from the building.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And the distribution system update, the next meeting for the electronic bid platform onboarding will be the first week of January. And that's where we are. That will ultimately be where the Elks Run bid will be disseminated. So we are on track for that. They had to postpone it a couple of weeks, but we're still on track for that. Yeah. All right. Anything else on water system project?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay,
Everything's looking good.
And I think we've all seen the clear well, so that's exciting. Staffing and commission. Again, I'd like to welcome David Ginalat from Bolivar, and I hope that hope you're not having too much trouble getting caught up on all this stuff. It's sometimes you don't realize how much you talk in code until you have a new person present. So if you have any questions, please of course ask them either now or after the meeting. We're all at your disposal for that. And I would also like to, Christy Huddle's been involved with the Water Commission for a very long time and has put in a tremendous amount of effort and is arguably key personnel for having gotten us to the point we're at now as a water system. And she is not seeking, she said she's not seeking reappointment after the end of her term, which is at the end of this year. And I just wanted to thank her for all of her efforts and for all the hard work in sort of forging the path for the rest of us. And we will miss her.
We will.
Now, we have one item of new business, and it has to do with discussion and action on recommending to the town council that the deliberative body agenda requirements be modified to require the circulation of meeting agendas to deliberative body members for review prior to posting, and that such circulation be effected at least 1 day prior to posting. Does anybody have anything they want to say about that?
Can you elaborate on what that means? I guess that means making the council aware of action items a little bit further in advance, or?
Well, currently the policy for agendas for deliberative bodies that the town council established, I want to say last March, but I could be wrong. But it's been in effect for almost a year, or about a year. There's a deadline, 5 business days prior to the meeting. All agenda requests have to be in, and then the agenda for a regular meeting must be posted 3 business days prior to the meeting. For us, that means the Wednesday prior to the week of the meeting. Any agenda requests that any of us want to have on the agenda are due to the chair, which currently is me, by that Wednesday at close of business. And then it gets posted by the end of the day on Friday. And we have historically, when possible, circulated the agenda amongst ourselves ahead of when it's posted, so people can, make corrections, make comments. And Laurel has asked that we formalize that.
No, I really am not. Actually, I would say the town council does not care what the water commission does with their agenda as long as they are all happy with it. So I would not be in favor of sending this to the town council because they don't care. They just want us to come up with a way with the agenda that satisfies state law and that makes everybody on the water commission happy. So I wouldn't be in favor of this thing that you have on the agenda, because it's just they don't want to vote on something for the water commission to do.
Well, I guess the predicament that you would like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you would like us to internally set that as a policy, not make a recommendation to the town.
I just want to have our historically, before you became chair, for years and years, the chair sent out the agenda 1 day ahead of when it had to be posted so that people could comment, add things, and, make corrections. And that's the way we did it for years. And I just would like to do that again. I think it's a friendlier way of, it's a more collaborative way of making the agenda.
And I recognize that. And I think that, it as a courtesy, it can be done when possible. What you're proposing, though, is once the town put together its policy for deliberative bodies, I think that what you're proposing, making it a requirement that happen, rubs up against that. And I think that really, if we're going to affect that change in a way that that's anything other than a request that somebody can either acknowledge or not, you would have to make it as a.
Well, we didn't before. I mean, I don't think any of the other commissions does the way you do it according to this thing that you sent out. I just don't think anybody is using that at all. And that the town council is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this form that you sent out might have been enacted under Mayor Bishop. I am positive that the present council did not make that.
Okay, yes, you're correct. It was enacted, I think in March is what I think, but it could have been earlier than that. I don't recall.
Mhm.
Deb.
It was enacted under Mayor Bishop, and it also was revised under the most recent past council, Nancy Case, leading the effort there.
So,
I don't think
gets-
anybody uses it, though. I mean, I really don't think you could find another commission. that
Well,
uses it.
I think actually that may not entirely be true. I would have to disagree just from the activity that I can see in the office and how the agendas come in, but I could be wrong.
The tree committee doesn't follow that at all. We send out the agenda more than a day in advance.
And part of what happens with the part of the reason that that policy is in place is that, and is that the bodies themselves need to decide on what's going to be on the agenda in advance of the meeting without involving the office staff. What was happening was that the office staff was getting all tangled up in what was going to be on the agenda, what wasn't going to be on the agenda, and taking a lot of time of the office staff. And that's why those kind of timelines are set up. So with reference to what you're saying in terms of how you develop it prior to it coming into the office, yeah, there's probably some leeway there, but I do believe that there are some commissions and committees that where the chair develops the agenda based on what everyone is supplied, and there it is.
Well-
and it also provides some uniformity of how these things are handled, as opposed to sort of ad hoc, which, you know, we're not always going to be the water commission. There'll be other people in our seats, and if there's a town policy, I think we should probably follow it. I mean, I do circulate the agenda prior to posting it, but I don't feel like if I didn't have time to do that, I don't feel like that's I violated the town's policy.
But
So-
I can recall that I have asked for something to be on the agenda after you circulated, and I was told there was not time, it's already going. You did not include what I asked to be put on there.
Well, the time frame to get something on the agenda is 5 business days prior to the meeting.
Well,
And
if you send it out a day ahead of when it has to be posted, then that does allow time for people to add things.
no, it doesn't. Because the day that the things have to be submitted to and this is how I do the agenda, is I wait until the time frame has closed to get anybody's request, because I don't, if somebody gets a request to me to put it on the agenda, I put it on the agenda. But after that Wednesday deadline, the Wednesday a week prior to the meeting, then I make the agenda with whatever requests I've received or not, and I get requests. And then
Yeah, but what we will have done historically, and what would work better, is for you to put this out a day ahead of when it has to be due and allow us to make additions to it. Because sometimes when you see it all laid out, it jogs the memory, or, oh, okay, that's good, that's in there, here, let's add this other thing. And that's the way we did it for many years. And it's a way that works, and it's more congenial and collaborative.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
You're talking about sending it out a day before the 5 business day deadline?
Yes.
I'm not clear on
Or
that either.
tomorrow?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I am. Well, I'll make a motion that we ask the chair to send out the agenda a full day ahead of when it has to be posted, so that the members of the Water Commission can add items or suggest items to be added or changes to that agenda. And so that it all gets completed before it's sent to the office, because we don't want to take extra time by the office staff. We do want it to be completed by the time so that when it gets sent to the office staff, that's it, right? We don't want to make them take extra time. Did that sound like a motion? That was supposed to be a motion. Is there
Right.
anyone who wants to second that? Or discuss it, or?
I would second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. Okay. Two problems. And this is the problem that I was originally addressed, is that that is an abrogation of the town policy. And I don't think we win if the town policy, and we serve at the leisure of the town council. So I don't know that I think it's, it's a nice suggestion, but I don't know that it's something that it's aspirational as opposed to a floor. Anyway, is there any public comment, Deb?
No.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'm not gonna adjourn.
I'm
Aye.
going to also second the thanks to Christy for your years of experience, and you're going to be sorely, sorely missed. And can we still call you?
Sure. Sure.
All right.
All right. All those in favor of adjourn?
Ah.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you.
y'all have a good night.
Okay, good night.